Ever get that feeling, like a little nudge inside pulling you a certain way? Even when the logical side of your brain's like, wait, what? It's like this deep knowing, but you can't explain it with facts. Ever had one of those moments?
Oh, absolutely. Those times when you just know, even if you can't say why.
Right. And that's what we're going to dive into today, this whole idea of intuition. It's like perceiving with your whole being, that quiet guide that steps in when logic just isn't enough. Carl Jung, the famous psychologist, he believed connecting to this inner wisdom, it's like uncovering hidden knowledge, stuff that can totally transform your life.
I think it's fascinating how much of our awareness isn't just, straight up thinking.
Exactly. And we all experience intuition on some level, but how many of us really get what it is, how it works? So today we're going deep into Jung's take on intuition. We're going to unpack the 4 types he talked about, how to cultivate them, the benefits you get, and even help you figure out if intuition's already a big part of how you see the world. Ready for this?
Jung's framework is really a great place to start to understand how different this ability can be.
First up, we've got intuition sensorial, sensory intuition. It's not just like seeing or hearing the obvious stuff. It's way deeper. It's almost like an instinctual connection to your surroundings, picking up on those little signals, the tiny things most folks totally miss.
It's amazing how this type of intuition uses your senses, but it goes beyond conscious thought. It's like your body knows the environment.
Exactly. Our source gave this great example. Picture walking into a room and instantly you feel tension, right, like thick in the air. But nobody said a word about any conflict. That's sensory intuition. You're picking up on the vibe, the unspoken stuff your mind and body process automatically. And this type of intuition, it's strong in people who can read the room fast. Artists, musicians, dancers, actors, our source mentioned a really good actor. They don't just say lines. They feel the energy of the other actors and they react authentically. So much emotion without even speaking.
That makes me think about interpreters too, right? They're not just changing words, they're picking up on the emotions underneath, the cultural things that give the words real meaning.
Totally. And it's huge for those in high-pressure jobs, negotiators, business leaders, anyone who needs to see those tiny shifts in a meeting before anyone says anything out loud.
Have you ever been somewhere and just felt like something was off, but you couldn't put your finger on why? Sensory intuition probably giving you info about your surroundings.
All right, next we got intuición pensante, thinking intuition. Might sound weird, but it's intuition mixed with analysis. It's how you get to logical answers, but you don't consciously go through every step. It's that aha moment, the sudden solution without knowing exactly how you got there.
It's like lightning fast, your mind making those subconscious connections.
Right. The source used Sherlock Holmes as an example. His methods, they seem crazy, almost supernatural. But he's making intuitive connections so fast, seeing patterns, that it looks like magic. And this kind of intuition, it's gold for scientists, inventors, creative types, like Einstein. He used intuition big time before he could work things out mathematically. Remember that quote, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." So much of that imagination comes from intuition.
It makes you wonder how many big discoveries came from that intuition.
You know it. Thinking intuition is huge in programming, engineering, anytime you're solving a tough problem. Like, an experienced programmer might spot an error in code without checking every line. Their brain already did the work. Or a business strategist, they might just see the right path forward even before the data backs it up.
Has that ever happened to you? The answer just appears in your mind. That's thinking intuition.
Now for number 3, intuition sentimental, feeling intuition. This one's all about deep connection with emotions, yours and everyone else's. It's like getting someone's emotional state without them having to say a word. People strong in feeling intuition pick up on those tiny changes in voice, how someone's standing, their energy. They just know what's really going on inside, even if the person's trying to hide it.
It shows how powerful empathy is. Being able to really tune into the emotions of a situation.
So true. The source used this example. You know when someone close to you says they're fine, but you just know they're not. Their smile doesn't reach their eyes, their voice is tense, something's off. That's feeling intuition. This one's big for therapists, counselors, teachers, those friends who always seem to know when you need support. Think about leaders or anyone who speaks to a group. They got to read the room, understand the energy, and change their message if they need to.
It's like that speaker who can tell if people are bored.
Right.
and they can switch things up on the spot.
Exactly. The source also talked about a teacher who can tell when a student's having a bad day, and they give encouragement without the kid having to say anything. But feeling intuition isn't just about other people. It helps you understand yourself, too. You can see your own emotions before they blow up. You can see your own knee-jerk reactions coming. It helps you in all your relationships.
Ever just felt someone's mood change or sensed an emotion in a room, even though nobody said anything? Feeling intuition, picking up those emotional vibes.
And finally, we've got intuition is spiritual, spiritual intuition. This one goes past the stuff you can touch into the realm of, well, the bigger picture. It's feeling connected to something beyond yourself, maybe the universe, a collective consciousness, something deeper. With spiritual intuition, you get hidden meanings in things that happen, and you feel like there's a bigger purpose at work.
It's like being plugged into a source of wisdom that's bigger than you.
I know, right? The source talked about those classic things, thinking of someone and then they call out of the blue. Or that gut feeling that puts you on a path you didn't logically choose. Carl Jung talked about this in terms of the collective unconscious. It's like we all share this pool of ancient knowledge that affects our deepest thoughts. So those aha moments, that feeling of destiny you can't explain, that might be spiritual intuition.
All those crazy coincidences, the things that feel too meaningful to be random.
For sure. And this one's often strong in people who are drawn to big questions about life. Mystics, artists, writers, anyone who really digs deep into those things. It's also big for people connected to nature or who find meaning in those meant-to-be moments. The source mentioned, like, a poet who feels compelled to write about something specific, but they don't know why. Later, they find out it really resonated with people. Or a scientist who's been working on a problem forever, and then boom, a sudden revelation that leads to a huge discovery. So spiritual intuition, it doesn't always come with logical reasons right away, but often over time, it takes you places that reveal their deeper meaning. It's about trusting something beyond just your rational mind.
Have you ever had one of those coincidences or a feeling that guided you but you couldn't explain it? Could be spiritual intuition at work.
Now, Jung was big on this. Intuition, it's not something you're born with or you're not. He believed everyone can get better at it with practice. You just got to become more aware. But he said we get blocked by all the noise in our heads, all the distractions of life. So he had these techniques to help you get back in touch with your intuition, sharpen it, and get to those deeper truths.
It's like making space for your intuitive insights to come through.
One of his favorites was active imagination. Not just daydreaming, but like a direct line to your subconscious. Those hidden images, thoughts, emotions, they can come up without you censoring them. Different from meditation, where you try to quiet your mind. Active imagination is more about letting your mind roam free and just watch what shows up.
You're actively engaging with your subconscious, not just watching, but interacting.
Right. The source gave a simple way to start. Find a quiet spot, get comfy, close your eyes, and focus inward. Maybe start with a question that's bugging you, or picture a scene you're dealing with. Let's say you're unsure about a decision. Imagine yourself in that situation and see what happens. The key is, don't force it. Don't try to control what pops up. Just let the images, characters, symbols, whatever, appear on their own. If you see a landscape, explore it in your mind. If a conversation starts between people in your imagination, listen to what they say. It's about treating these images like they're real. And the more relaxed you are, the less you judge what comes up, the more you'll learn from it. Active imagination can show you stuff you didn't even know was there. Repressed emotions, hidden wants, even solutions to problems your logical mind couldn't crack. So it's great for people who overthink or who have that constant chatter in their heads. By giving your subconscious space like this, you tap into a wellspring of creativity, clarity, self-knowledge, stuff you can't always get just through thinking things out.
Have you ever let your mind wander and just watched what came up? That's the start of active imagination.
That leads right into Jung's next big thing, interpretación de los sueños, dream interpretation. For Jung, dreams weren't random nonsense. They were messages from your unconscious, symbolic stuff about your emotions, conflicts, your deepest intuitive knowledge. He called dreams a kind of nightly intuition. It's your mind working behind the scenes, processing thoughts, solving problems, giving you clues about your emotional state and your intuition.
That your unconscious mind is talking to you through your dreams. It's a cool idea.
Isn't it? And by learning to understand your dreams, you unlock a ton of info about hidden fears, desires, all those parts of you that you don't normally see. The key is to write them down, analyze them. Keep a dream journal by your bed. When you wake up, Jot down anything you remember, even little bits. It might seem crazy at first, but if you do it regularly, you'll start seeing patterns, symbols that repeat. They can tell you a lot. Let's say you keep dreaming about the same person, place, or situation. That could be your unconscious trying to tell you something you're ignoring. An unresolved feeling, a deep fear, maybe a gut feeling about something you should be doing. And Jung was big on this. Dream symbols are personal. What they mean to you comes from your life, your experiences. So you examine your dreams, think about what they might represent, and you learn so much about yourself. And over time, you not only remember your dreams better, but you also start to trust your intuition more. You realize your subconscious has been talking all along. You just didn't know how to listen.
Have you ever noticed themes in your dreams, things that keep popping up? Could be some great insights into your life.
And that takes us to another great way to develop intuition. Llevar un diario. Journaling, not just writing down your feelings, but using it to make your intuition stronger. When you write without holding back, no judging yourself, you make space for your subconscious to come out in ways you might not notice otherwise. It's like that stream of consciousness writing. Ideas, emotions, connections, they just flow. Things you wouldn't find by just thinking about them.
Sometimes when you write, you bypass that inner critic,
Right.
the one that tells you you're doing it wrong.
So true. To really use journaling for intuition, focus on a theme each time you write. Something you're unsure about, a decision you got to make, even a vague feeling. Don't worry about grammar or making sense. Just let it all out. Write everything that pops into your head, even if it seems like a jumbled mess. Keep going, and you might see patterns, phrases that repeat, images. You might even find the answer you've been looking for without realizing it. Or you'll see a connection between things that seem totally random, and suddenly things are clearer. It can also help you see those beliefs you have that you don't even realize are affecting your decisions. Like maybe you have a deep fear of failing, and that's holding you back from taking risks. Or that voice in your head that puts you down. Journaling helps you see those things. So journaling, it's not just about knowing yourself better, it also helps you trust your intuition more.
Have you ever had that moment where you write about a problem and suddenly it all makes sense?
Yeah.
That's journaling, tapping into intuition.
And now we come to another key technique, meditation. Meditation. It's a bridge to your intuition. It gives you a calm space to get away from all the noise outside and inside. Because in everyday life, our thoughts, worries, they take over. They drown out that quiet, wise voice inside. But when you get still, that inner voice gets louder, clearer.
When you quiet the surface of your mind, you can actually hear those intuitive signals better.
Exactly. Even a little meditation every day can make a huge difference. You don't need hours or fancy techniques. Even 10-15 minutes is great. Find a peaceful spot, get comfy, and focus on your breath. Thoughts will pop up. Just notice them, but don't get caught up in them. Let them go, like clouds moving across the sky. Do this regularly and you'll have less mental clutter. Your intuition will come through more easily. Maybe during meditation, you'll suddenly get clarity about a tough decision. Or a new idea will just appear. Developing intuition takes time. You got to be patient and listen to that inner voice, but it's so worth it. When you get better at it, you'll see good things in your life. You'll be more confident in your choices, more creative, better at solving problems. So meditation, it creates that inner quiet your intuition needs.
Ever had a sudden realization during or after being quiet and reflective? That's your intuition getting stronger through meditation.
All right, now, getting better at intuition, it's not just a nice idea. It has real benefits for your life, big ones. Of course, it takes practice, patience, and listening to that inner voice. But here's the thing. One of the coolest benefits is mehr Kreativität, greater creativity.
It's like intuition opens up a whole new world of possibilities for your creativity.
I know, right? When you're truly connected to your intuition, you get access to knowledge that goes way beyond logic. You tap into ideas, perspectives that would stayed hidden. It sparks this incredible creativity, and you start approaching things in new, unconventional ways. And that's where real innovation comes from. The source talked about artists like Salvador Dali and Leonardo da Vinci, both super creative, known for pushing boundaries, breaking the rules. They said their success didn't just come from their talent or skill, but from intuition. It was like their creativity came from a source that was beyond just thinking things out. They were tapping into something deeper. So while logic can help you create something that works, it's intuition that takes you to the extraordinary, the unique, the stuff that you can't force. It just comes through you.
It makes you think about all the groundbreaking art, inventions. That seemed crazy at first, but then changed the world. That's intuition leading the way.
But creativity is not the only thing that gets better. There's also a mejora on a resolución de problemas, improvement in problem solving.
It's so cool how intuition can just give you those unexpected solutions.
It really is. Intuition can give you those mental shortcuts, helping you solve problems faster and better. And often, it skips over all those logical steps. Let's say you're stuck on a really hard problem, you're trying to figure it out logically, and then, bam, an idea hits you. You don't know exactly how you got there, but it just feels right. It can save you so much time and energy. You don't have to grind through every step. The source compared it to detectives, which I thought was interesting. Detectives, they got to look at clues and use logic, right? But they also use those hunches, those gut feelings, to connect the dots faster. And you can do that too. You can jump to the solution instead of taking forever to get there through logic. It's like intuition lets you see the whole picture instantly. That's how you make decisions better, quicker, without getting lost in the details.
Think about all those times a problem that seemed impossible was solved by someone who had a sudden insight, something that didn't make sense logically.
And this ability is so important for Major on la toma de decisiones, improvement in decision-making.
Because intuition considers those things that are hard to measure but still matter so much.
Right. One of the biggest benefits of working on your intuition is that you make way better decisions. Life's full of situations where there's no clear right answer. No simple choice. Logic and analysis are great tools, but they only get you so far. At some point, you got to trust your gut, that inner knowing. When you develop your intuition, you get better at handling those tough choices. It's not just about the facts, it's about how a decision feels, how it aligns with your values, your overall well-being. Sometimes the best answer isn't the logical one, but the one that feels right deep down. Like, imagine you're trying to choose a career path. There's the money, the opportunities, but there's also how it makes you feel, your sense of purpose. Logic helps you weigh the pros and cons, but intuition tells you what truly fits with who you are and what you want. It's about trusting your inner wisdom, making choices that are right for you. And that often leads to a more fulfilling, happier life. So intuition helps you make smarter choices, but it also gives you the confidence to act on them.
You know how many times people regret decisions that made sense logically, but just didn't feel right?
All the time. And you know what? Working on your intuition doesn't just help with problem solving and decisions. It also leads to mayor autoconocimiento, greater self-knowledge. That's huge.
Because it's really about understanding yourself on a deeper level.
Exactly. When you start really paying attention to your thoughts, feelings, those little impulses, you start seeing patterns. You figure out what you truly desire, the fears you've been hiding, what really drives you. And that's so powerful because then you can make choices that reflect who you really are, not just what you think you should be or what other people expect. You might realize, for example, that your intuition keeps pushing you toward things that bring you joy and fulfillment. Maybe it's painting, writing, music, whatever lights you up. And you might discover this even if you've always seen yourself as a super practical person. So by listening to those nudges, you start to understand what truly makes you happy, not just on a surface level, it's a deeper understanding. And that opens the door to living a more genuine life, doing things that align with your passions, not just the demands of life. So intuition helps you live a more authentic life.
Ever been surprised by a sudden urge that revealed something about what you truly wanted? That's intuition guiding you toward a deeper understanding of yourself.
All right, so developing intuition has all these amazing benefits. But how do you know if you're already in touch with it? Well, there are some signs. People who are naturally intuitive, they usually have this strong connection to their inner world. They're sensitive to those subtle things that others might miss.
It's about paying attention to how you naturally do things, how you experience the world.
Right.
One big sign is constant attention to thoughts and feelings. If you're someone who's always thinking about why you feel certain ways or the big questions about life, chances are your intuition's already pretty active. Intuitive people, they feel things intensely, and they often notice shifts in their own emotions way before anyone else. It's like they have this internal radar, and it helps them understand themselves better, but also what's going on with other people and situations. Imagine you're in a social situation, just hanging out, and suddenly you feel uneasy, but you don't know why. Something just feels off. That's a sign you're in tune with your intuition. You're picking up on things others don't, those little cues and vibes. So this sensitivity to your own feelings, it's not just a random thing. It helps you navigate life, understand yourself and others. As you get better at it, you start seeing patterns. You can make decisions based not just on what you see and hear, but also on what you feel deep down.
That kind of awareness can be huge in social situations, understanding those unspoken things. Another way to tell if you're intuitive is to watch how you act. Intuitive people, they're good at noticing subtle patterns and connections. They just have this inner wisdom that tells them things, even without clear evidence. It's that gut feeling, that hunch that tells you to do something, even if you don't know why.
Being able to see how things are related, even when they seem totally separate.
The source had some great examples, like maybe you suddenly decide to skip a meeting or avoid someone, no real reason why, but later you find out it was a good call. Your intuition might have been steering you away from trouble. It can be practical, too. Maybe you randomly feel like calling a friend you haven't talked to in a while, and it turns out they really needed you. Or you're drawn to certain hobbies, and they end up being super meaningful for you. So those little things you do, those patterns, they show how intuition is working in your life. It's like an invitation to trust those instincts more. They can lead you to decisions that are truer to yourself, your values, your purpose. And as Carl Jung said, intuition is a big part of who we are. It connects us to something bigger than logic and reason. It's a bridge to that deep inner knowing.
Think about those times you followed your gut and it turned out to be the right move, even if it didn't make sense at the time. That's your intuition.
So, to wrap things up, let's look back at what we covered today. Jung's 4 types of intuition: sensory, thinking, feeling, spiritual. They give us a much clearer picture of how to access that inner wisdom. And remember, intuition isn't some magical gift. It's a skill we can all develop. We talked about some great ways to do that: active imagination, dream interpretation, journaling, and meditation.
These aren't just abstract ideas. They're real tools you can use to make your life better, to make better choices, connect with yourself.
You got it. And the benefits, wow. More creativity, better problem solving, clearer decisions, deeper self-knowledge. And it's in all of us. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. So give yourself the time and space to listen to that inner voice, those nudges, feelings, those flashes of insight. You'll start to notice your intuition getting stronger, clearer, and it'll become a guide you can rely on. When you learn to listen to and trust your inner wisdom, you start living a life that feels more authentic, more aligned with who you truly are. You'll have a sense of purpose, a direction, a deeper understanding, and you'll face challenges with more calm and confidence.
Here's a question for you to think about. If intuition really is a direct connection to your true self, what amazing things could you discover by nurturing it and trusting it more?
That's something to really ponder. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive into intuition. We hope it sparked your curiosity and gave you some tools to explore your own inner wisdom. Until next time, keep listening to that quiet voice within.